I recently created this YouTube channel to share with the world my own kind of lifelong journey into the world of fitness and exercise and well-being. And specifically, I am approaching this today from the perspective of a human being who is over the age of 40. Thus far, the type of workout that I've been sharing with you is called high intensity interval training, or HIIT training. Now, to just briefly share with you a little bit about my own fitness background, for about 33 years now, I've been a very devoted long distance runner. I began long distance running as part of my amateur boxing training. I had a very brief amateur boxing career around the age of 13 and 14, and just one official amateur fight, which I'm happy to say I won, although that doesn't matter. And I've always considered my discovery of long distance running as the most fortuitous event of my life. Nothing else in my lifestyle has contributed more to my overall health and happiness and well-being. But it was in my late 30s and early 40s that I began to recognize the need to add some new elements to my training. Typically, when we think of good cardiovascular health, we have the mental image of the person who throws on a pair of running shoes and then goes out the front door and jogs or runs 5 or 6 or 10 miles. But there are some intrinsic limitations to slow, steady state exercise, which I think become more and more dramatic and noticeable as we get older. In my late 30s and early 40s, I think because I did not have a very committed and regular strength training regimen, I was experiencing muscular atrophy. Even though I wasn't gaining weight, I was losing muscular definition. And so over time, I began to recognize the need to add new elements to my fitness routine. As you may know, if you like to explore the available scientific literature into fitness and exercise, there are scientific studies which suggest that endurance exercise, and particularly what we would regard as, quote, overtraining, leads to increased cortisol levels. And increased cortisol leads to an inhibition of testosterone production in men. And in fact, there are also studies that suggest that chronically elevated levels of cortisol produces fertility problems in women. So it was actually in my early 40s that for the first time in about 3 decades, I paid a visit to a boxing gym, and I became a fairly regular participant in boxing fitness classes. And if you've ever taken a boxing fitness class, you know that it primarily consists of heavy bag work. You typically do different types of conditioning drills. It might be kind of pre-planned combinations, which you do for short periods of time. Sometimes it's interspersed with forms of calisthenics and other types of exercise. And even if you have a comprehensive fitness background, maybe primarily you've done something like me, like long distance running, it can be shocking to you just how quickly and thoroughly you become exhausted by the simple act of throwing punches at a solid surface. Now, if you're familiar with the sport of boxing, and specifically professional boxing, you know that it typically consists of 3 minutes of activity followed by 60 seconds of rest. Now, it happens that both boxing competition and boxing training is, just by its intrinsic nature, a form of high-intensity interval training. You are very quickly taken into anaerobic territory. That is, you are reaching your maximum heart rate and peak oxygen capacity. And then you have a short period of rest and recovery. So I'll just briefly describe for you what at least a couple of scientific papers say about the effects of HIIT training, and specifically on individuals who are getting a little bit more advanced in age, who are either over the age of 40 or close to the age of 40. In 2017, in the journal Endocrine Connections, there was a scientific paper published entitled HIIT produces increases in muscle power and free testosterone in male masters athletes. Now, of course, like any scientific paper, it can get very technical, but I'll just briefly read to you from the author's abstract. It states, High intensity interval training, that is HIIT for short, improves peak power output, or PPO, in sedentary aging men, but has not been examined in masters endurance athletes. Therefore, we investigated whether a 6-week program of low-volume HIIT training would improve PPO in masters athletes and whether any change in PPO would be associated with steroid hormone perturbations. 6 weeks HIIT improves PPO in masters athletes and increases free testosterone. Taken together, these data indicate there is a place for carefully timed HIIT epochs in regimes of masters athletes. Now, along these lines, there's another scientific paper which was published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, which I think is worth examining. It's entitled, "The Effect of High-Intensity Interval Training Periods on Morning Serum Testosterone and Cortisol Levels and Physical Fitness in Men Aged 35 to 40 Years." And again, this paper is, for laypersons such as myself, very technical, but I can read to you from the abstract the author's conclusions. They state, high-intensity interval training continued over an 8-week period modulates significantly and positively the balance between testosterone and cortisol levels and improves physical capacity in men aged 35 to 40 years. So I'll note here that I am not an expert of any sort. I am, of course, not a scientist, a medical expert, nor am I even a certified personal trainer, nor an official boxing instructor. For me, as for the vast majority of athletes and fitness enthusiasts, it's a process. This fitness journey is a process of gaining all the knowledge that we can through personal experience, through coaches and trainers, and also, if you're like me, you like to learn all that you are able to as a layperson from the available scientific literature. Now, when looking at the benefits of HIIT training, I think it's important to remember that there is also a virtual library of scientific literature illustrating the benefits of slow, steady state exercise. There are many studies which show that actually, yes, aerobic exercise, endurance exercise is very helpful to one's cardiovascular health. And also, I think just as importantly, there is the intangible benefit, the psychological and spiritual benefit, and the sense of well-being that one gets out of endurance exercise. Nothing in my life has ever made me happier than going for a nice, long, comfortable run or jog on a trail through the woods. I think running is every bit as helpful to one's spiritual equanimity as a practice of meditation or of yoga. But what I can share with you, again, just anecdotally, is that the benefits I have gotten out of HIIT training over these last few years have convinced me that it's something I am going to include for the foreseeable future, and I believe and hope probably for the rest of my life. Also, as an over 40 athlete, one of my primary considerations when I'm outlining for myself a workout regimen is the scientific studies which suggest that there may be declining testosterone levels for men, and particularly men in my age group, here in the United States and in other areas of the world. So it's important, certainly, to not be doing anything in our workout regimens that could actually exacerbate that problem.